Hello friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Y'all, we have just gotten several days of glorious, beautiful rain. The sun is out, so in true southern fashion, so is the humidity. Now, these are absolutely prime conditions to go ahead and plant some beautiful seeds in the garden. That is what we're going to do today. Now, are these beds perfectly weeded and manicured? No, they're not. The weeds, they're love and life. We're going to take care of those, but the garden is telling me it is the perfect prime time to direct sow these seeds. And if I wait for the weeds to be completely gone, then I have missed my opportunity. So today is about progress, not perfection. I'm going to weed those weeds that are going to interfere with my direct sowing of these seeds. The rest of them, we'll take care of them later. But soil nice and moist. It is warm. The seeds are going to germinate really quickly and be happy. And so those conditions that are in my garden are saying, let's plant now. That is what we're going to do. So what are we planting here in North Carolina? We are going to plant some veggies and we are going to plant some flowers because you gotta have both, right? So we are here in the backyard. I have got these two beds. Those of you that have watched this a long time, you might remember that these used to be the dahlia beds. Well, the dahlias are gone. I do have two, and that is simply because with our wet winters, the dahlias did not survive. But I have two, so we're going to work around them. We are going to plant two of my favorite summer veggies. These babies need some room, so that's why we're going to plant them in these two beds. My zucchini and my yellow squash. As a good southern gardener, I am wearing my linen. I have got my big floppy hat, my sunglasses, and my seeds. So we are going to plant this Italian zucchini. If you have never grown an Italian zucchini before, you are missing out. These are going to be historically bigger fruit, right? So they're going to be much larger than your traditional zucchini. And if you're familiar with zucchini, you're like, but Jenny, the bigger they get, the thicker the skin, and you get these big old fat seeds. Not with the Italian zucchini, because it's a thin skin and very, very few seeds. They are delicious. When we would sell produce at the farmer's market, this was always a massive hit. So we're going to do those. And then, like I said, we are going to do some yellow squash, because us Southerners, we do love our squash. And so my children love some squash casserole. So this is going to be one of those crops that is going to be a very quick turnaround, high producing, very satisfying crop. But the plants do get nice and big. That's why we're going to put them in the landscape and not in the garden boxes. And then, because you gotta have some flowers, right? We are gonna go and do some beautiful sunflowers. These are the pro-cut sunflowers. Again, when we would sell produce and cut flowers at the farmer's market, the pro-cut series was the ones that we would go to every single time. These are like a professional florist quality flower. Nice and big and beautiful. They come in a range of colors. I think I'm planting 3 different colors today. It is a single stem, so one seed equals one flower, but they're pollenless. That means that when you cut them and bring them inside of your house, they're not going to drop all of the pollen onto your table. Now, because they're pollenless does not mean that they are free of that nectar and that lovely sweet sap that the honeybees love. They are a massive pollinator attractor, specifically the honeybees, to these sunflowers. So we're going to do those. Those two we're going to go in this bed, because they get big. And then we're going to do classic cottage garden zinnias. That's right, or zinnias. It depends on how you want to say it. My all-time favorite is the Benary's Giant Mix. Again, great cut flower, great for your pollinators. It is a mix, so we're going to get a blend of reds, oranges, yellows, purples, all kinds of colors, beautiful plants. And then, y'all, I'm just going to keep it real with you, because that's what I do around here. So I don't even remember when this was, but it was at least 2 springs ago. Yeah. So I ordered, I think we all know Florette Flower Farm, and I had ordered 3 of her different zinnia blends. So I've got Golden Hour, Dawn Creek Blush, and Victorian Wedding. Clearly they've never been planted. So we're hoping, we're gonna cross our fingers and say a prayer that they still germinate really well. They've been inside the whole time, so they should germinate just well. So we're going to add those too. And then last but not least, because we're going big, my friends, we are going to do a whole blend of the Creekside Harvest, the Cosmos. And we're gonna add the Cosmos to the garden bed that we were in like a month ago when I was cutting things. Whacked that butterfly bush. It's just right here behind where we're gonna be. So we're gonna add those as well. It's gonna be fun. So if you think that you have to wait for your garden to be perfect and in magazine worthy, video worthy standings before you get in there and do some things, then no, you're missing the opportunity. We'll take care of that all at one time. So first, I guess we need to weed, the fun part. So let's get this weeded and then we can plant some seeds. Alrighty, my friends, so what I did is it just went down the center and got those big weeds that are going to interfere with the seed germination. Again, ones on the outside, we'll take care of those. This is on drip irrigation, and you can see those 2 brown lines. Lifted them up and pulled them towards the center. So I am going to plant my seeds between those 2 lines of drip irrigation. The soil is nice and moist, so it is perfect prime time to plant your seeds. So we have 2 beds. So in this first bed, I do not have any twine up as support. It had come down from the dahlias. So what I'm gonna do in here is my plants that I'm gonna do a succession planting on. That means my squash and my zucchini and then my sunflowers. So when you're planting your squash and zucchini, the great thing is that you're gonna see results really, really quick as far as your germination. Soil's moist, the temperatures are up, it is going to be fantastic. So we're gonna put about 3 to 4 seeds per hole, and then we're gonna space those out by a couple of feet because the plants get big. So I've got 2 packs of the Tempest organic yellow squash, and then I have got 2 packs of the Sophie zucchini squash. Here in the South, typically we do these as succession plantings because our biggest battle is going to be against the squash bug, which can go in there and kill the plant overnight. So you kind of have to think about, okay, these plants are probably not going to last all summer long, so we're going to do succession plantings. So they're going to go in here. And then my 4 Pro Cut sunflowers. So the colors that I have, I've got plum, red, white night, I should say, and then orange. So I'm going to actually go ahead and take these 4 packs, mix them all up, and then plant them. That way it'll have a beautiful, like a collection of these 4 colors together. So they are going to go down here as well. And then the next bed next door, those are going to be my zinnias, because the zinnias, while they don't have to be staked, they certainly do help to have some support so that they don't flop over. And I have got some twine on that side, so we'll do the Benary's Giant mix over there along with the Floret flower, those 3 mixes. Those 3 blends, I am going to keep them separate so that way I know exactly what they are and can enjoy them. So we are going to knock this out because let me tell you, it is sticky. I have got my hanky. So, fun little story. So Mama came down yesterday and we were talking, and she brought this collection. She found a collection of my grandmama's handkerchiefs. So we're not going to put these in the cedar chest. Oh no, my friends, we are going to use them, because what's the point of having them if we're not going to use them? So every time I pull out my hankies, I think of my grandmama Betty. So grandmama's with me with my hanky. It is sticky, my friends. Let's get these babies in the ground. friends, so all of the seeds, they are in the ground, planted, all snuggled in. So now we just sit back and wait. The great thing about the squash, the zucchini, the zinnias, the sunflowers, these are such easy plants to direct sow. So you don't have to start them indoors and then move them out. In fact, I dare say they do better doing direct sow than transplanting. Also, if you have littles in your life, these are great projects to do with them during the summer because they are such fast germinators and they're going to see some results, pretty quick as far as seeds go. And then of course getting able to go out there and cut the flowers, to pick the squash and zucchini and eat it. It is so much fun. We did that with our children when they were itty bitties, and now it's just a part of their life, and they completely understand about sowing seeds and patience and watching things grow and develop. So it is a lot of fun. So now we just sit back and we wait and let the rains come. If the rain does not come, obviously we can turn on irrigation, and I have a hose link nearby if we need to get in there and do some supplemental watering. Just to show you how warm and toasty it is, this is one of the dahlias. Of course, dahlias love it kind of on a little bit on the cooler side, right? And so we've had those days of cloudy, rainy weather, and then the sun comes out, and this poor dahlia is like, oh my gosh, it's hot. She'll be fine. She'll recover just fine. So this will be a lot of fun. Of course, we will keep you updated on the progression of those seeds. Then last, we are going to head over here to this flower bed. We were just here a couple of weeks ago when I did some maintenance in this bed. We weeded, we cut back the daffodils, we gave the buddleia a very strong haircut, and you can see how well it is doing. We have got some buds on there. Of course, when I really went in there and whacked it, look at all of that beautiful new foliage that is coming along. And then there you go, we have got buds on these two butterfly bushes. So what we're going to do is we're going to come right here into this space. You can see the drip line is already here, it's already installed, and because I cut back the butterfly bushes so strong, we have a good space right here to go ahead and plant some cosmos. Cosmos, of course, are so fun because they bring a whimsical feeling to the garden. So what we're going to do is, I have got 3 different ones, and we're going to mix them just like the sunflowers. So we have the Versailles mix, we have the double click bicolor pink, and then the afternoon white. These are gorgeous flowers that make great cut flowers, great for pollinators, low maintenance. The more you cut them, the more they produce, the tighter they get. So we're just going to come in here and scratch up the soil just a little bit. They only want to go 1/4 of an inch underneath the soil, and get them planted, and then we'll be done for today. The cosmos have been planted. I just mixed them all in there together. Now comes the hard part. We have to wait. That's right, my friends. Gardening teaches you patience, whether you are direct sowing your seeds or just gardening in general. It will teach you patience. But the reward, my friends, it is worth it. This bed, as I knew it would, is looking absolutely spectacular. Can we just take one moment here, please, and appreciate the gorgeous flowers of this Monarda and how many pollinators are absolutely crawling all over this Monarda. It is such a sweet plant, literally, and it is doing fantastic. And then, of course, the eyeliner irises, they are blooming, doing great. Now that they've been able to get some sun with those butterfly bushes being kind of out of the way, they can come in and just be their beautiful selves that I knew they would be. So in there, in that little inner circle of the irrigation, that's where I just spread out the cosmos, scratched up the soil, sprinkled them in, scratch the soil again, and then I did go ahead and decide to water everything in. I have a 100-foot hose link right here on the side of the garden shed. So it makes it incredibly easy to water things in. And even though the soil is nice and moist, I don't think we're going to get any more rain today. And so just giving that little bit of sprinkle in there just to kind of get the soil settled on top of the seeds, of course, will help tremendously. Total side note, I want to give you an update on how the blackberries are doing. Y'all, we are going to have a massive bumper crop of blackberries this season. The first three right here, these are the Osage thornless blackberries from our friends at Southern Living Plant Collection. Can we just look at all of those berries? We've got some that are turning a little reddish. Of course, they'll turn red before they turn black. So we probably got, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks before they're in full harvest. And then the one on the end, this is the Taste of Heaven from Proven Winners, another thornless. It is just a little bit ahead of the Osage. And in fact, this morning I picked my first little container full of blackberries. They were delicious. So as always, my friends, I hope you have found this fun, informative, and inspirational. The joy of gardening, it never ends. There is always something to do, right? And so that is the fun of gardening. It is great. Now, my only concern about this space is those cutie patootie, four-legged, hippity-hoppity friends of ours, Peter, Flopsy, Mopsy, and the whole gang. That's right, we got rabbits. And sometimes rabbits, they'll chew off the tops of the vegetation as they germinate. So I'm gonna have to keep furball over here on guard. In fact, we were in here today and I saw a big mama rabbit just jump through the backyard. So we'll see, right? We'll see. We'll see y'all in the next video. Bye, my friends.